My name is Mike King from the Massachusetts Family Institute, speaking today in opposition to HB 377 and SB 174. At a Worcester City Council meeting on July 18th, 2023, just recently, the city solicitor and city manager both explained that the Massachusetts Attorney General's office is recommending that cities and towns refrain from passing any of these ordinances that would fine pregnancy resource centers for false advertising practices. The Worcester City Solicitor referenced the NIFLA case out of California, as well as the recent case in Connecticut, where the Connecticut AG championed the ordinance. However, after the ordinance was legally challenged, the case was eventually dropped because the Connecticut AG mentioned Connecticut would not enforce the ordinance. The Worcester City Solicitor also mentioned at this July 18th meeting that the ordinance compels pregnancy resource centers to speak in a certain way regarding abortion. That if they don't offer the service, they would be required to refer it to someone else that does. He mentioned concern that this kind of compelled speech in these two bills we're talking about today is unconstitutional and would put Worcester in legal hot water. Recently, the East Hampton City Council voted to pass a similar ordinance to these bills that would fine pregnancy resource centers for so-called false advertising practices. Now, the East Hampton mayor, who is no pro-life champion, decided to use her veto for the first time since being elected in 2017. She must have been convinced of the legal liability of such an ordinance to use her veto for the first time on a life issue of all things. Again, recently the Framingham City Council tried to pass a similar ordinance. I'm sure to their surprise, pro-life advocates outnumbered the pro-abortion advocates at the City Council meetings. Again, the City Council became convinced that such an ordinance should not be passed in Framingham. They ultimately decided to virtue signal and pass a proclamation that only defames pregnancy resource centers and has no enforcement teeth to it. At the meeting to pass the proclamation, Michael Hugo, chair of the Democrat committee in Framingham, stated that crisis pregnancy centers could misdiagnose a defect in a baby in the womb, leading them to being born and becoming a strain on a school budget. After this gross statement regarding human dignity, more and more people are waking up that would never have joined this fight for life and free speech. Even in East Hampton, a city councilor was curious why pregnancy resource centers are not locally funded like Planned Parenthood clinics are. The continued attacks on pregnancy resource centers will only garner more support for them. One lady in Framingham, for example, mentioned that she never came to city council meetings, but due to the outrageous discrimination, she came out and now wants to start another pregnancy resource center in Framingham just in response to the injustice shown to them through these ordinances. Please join me in opposing HB 377 and SB 174. Thanks so much.
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. King. Any questions from testify? Seeing none, thank you very much for your time.